Good evening and welcome to another installment of the Golden Age of Leather. Biker stories from the 70s to the present day. And we're going to pick up on the Mexico story. I'm trying to just get a good angle. Oh my God, look at that. Look at how crooked my head is. I guess we'll move back over here. I just thought there was a lot of glare coming in. I don't know. Whatever. I'm pretty glary. Anyway, we're going to pick up on the Mexico story where I went down to Mexico to bring back a bunch of weed, and it was interesting. But first, hand of God has struck the hour. That bastard, the Khomeini, is dead. Took 30, 40 fucking years to kill him. I remember in high school, it was Khomeini sucks and bomb Iran and Ruck Fusha. You know, that was the big thing. And now, all these years later, well, shit, it's nearly 50 years. I graduated the same year that those bastards took over Iran. Jimmy Carter, his failed presidency, much like Joe. What a joke. Crashed some helicopters in the desert, killed people to do nothing. They didn't let they had hostages, American hostages, some of you might not even know that, for over a year. They didn't let them go until Ronald Reagan got in office. They didn't want any part of that wild cowboy, and the Libyans blew up a barracks and killed 300 soldiers. You don't hear about this stuff anymore. We talked about it a little bit with the Diggy story, because he was in Libya. They poisoned him. He's still alive while he was, till Bulldog got him. Anyway, let's get back to the story. Nancy Guthrie's still missing, and that I find that appalling. Here, I got a scratch. I got a little itchy, probably from my dog. He's a good boy. Anyway, let's see. I guess I left off we got to the ranch, and when we hit there, I hadn't seen old Walter for a couple of years. He'd been up in the States working construction, sending money home, and I think he had a wife in Mexico and one in America, by the way, or at least girlfriends. I don't know. That was the thing to do back then. Anyway, we got there. They put on a fiesta like you wouldn't believe. Booze and food, and we're partying it up. And I'm the only gringo, and nobody knows me, and they're very interested in me. And the old guys with no teeth, kind of like me, walking around there, and they're all, the more they drink, the more they want to get to know me, if you know what I mean. It was very disturbing, because I'm like, I don't go that way. So then, after the whole thing's over, they're like, oh, all of us did. He could have slept in the house, to his credit, him and his brother, but we all slept out in the bunkhouse where the cowboys sleep. And one important thing you do in that bunkhouse is you sleep with your back to the wall, Anyway, we're down there a while, a typical day, you get up, you go in to eat. Now, this was an interesting deal. We went in to eat breakfast, and the cowboys had already gone, so, we all just sat down to eat, and, like the coffee, I can't remember what it was. You can buy it in the States, but it already had sugar and cream in it. When you brew it and you pour it, it's already sweet and it has cream and it's very sweet. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's also full of fucking caffeine. It'll rock your world. So, we had breakfast and so forth, and then, I went to go put some sugar on something, and they're like, no, that's not sugar. It was cocaine. They kept the cocaine in a little bowl on the kitchen table, like a sugar bowl. And then everybody just, take a dollar bill or a peso or whatever the hell those bills were, and they'd take a big old spoonful of it and tap it in there and pull a little bindle up, and they'd put it in their pocket, and that was just the way of life. Mom, Dad, everybody was doing tootskis all day long. And we, go do whatever, and then we went into the town, and of course, it was full of whores, and it was interesting. They had double-decker buses there from the 50s in America. those little shitty Ford Fiestas everywhere. And, there's no bathrooms inside in Mexico in the houses. They're all outside in a almost open air area. And another interesting factor is at that time, just a little sideline, I was partners in a body shop with my brother Billy. Rest in peace, brother. Anyway, they paint cars outside. They have like a covering over there, but they don't have a shop like you would have in America. They have like an awning, and they're painting outside. Anyway, so we went and checked out a lot of that stuff. And back at home, I wanted to get home. I had things going on there. I had a 69 slab side shovelhead I just finished building, and I wanted to get back and ride, but you got to pay them bills and put food on the table, and against my better judgment and a lot of other people's convincing me otherwise, I went to Mexico, and because I'm dumb. At the time, I was dumb. I mean, I don't know how old I was. Maybe I was 30. I don't know. Well, let's see. 1993. I was born in 61. 81. Yeah, it's right up there against 30. Not too smart. Slinging weed for a living instead of getting a real job. Well, I had a real job, actually. I was a plumber and a welder, and I was partners in a body shop, so I wasn't really fucking off too much at that point in my life. But I just got this grandiose idea that we could do it, and so here I am in Mexico, and I want to go home. These guys are home, so they want to party. So they're under the pretext of going to get this weed deal put together. They leave me out on this ranch for like 2 days. I didn't see anybody, and I'm kind of like, oh, I get hungry, I just go to the kitchen, his mom would feed me. I have to use the bathroom, I'd go find the bathroom, I'm by myself with all these homosexual cowboys, and finally they showed back up, and we went and looked at the pot, and as I mentioned before, there was a house, literally, your average sized little house, full of weed. And, they don't smoke. Most of those Mexican people don't smoke weed. They'll do cocaine with you all day long, but they don't smoke. And so, anyway, we go back to the farm. We're all standing around. This is the King of the Hill part. This is what they do all day. They stand against the wall with one foot against the wall, snorting coke and drinking Don Pedro all day. When they run out, they go down to the little store and get some more. Or, they don't ever run out of coke. Well, they probably do now, but they didn't then. We're driving around Mexico. It isn't like it is now. They had cartels, and they were everywhere, but they weren't like a unified front. It looked like little prisons all over. There was little barbed wire enclosures, and I'm like, what's that? Is that a jail? Oh, no, that's so-and-so's cartel. 100 feet up the road, there's another one. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's so-and-so. They don't like each other. Every once in a while, they go and shoot at each other, and so what's happened over the years is those little independent cartel mafia, they didn't call them cartels, then they call them mafias. Those little mafias have all got together, and they've formed these big cartels that you have now. I wouldn't mess with them, honestly. They're not very nice. And I was told not to mess with them when I was down there. But people are like, you can live like a king here for $200 a month. Well, you can, and you probably still can live down there for very cheap. But you just have to remember, you're a gringo, and when the shit hits the fan, you're going to be the one they drag out into the street. So, I don't know. I like America. I'm going to stay here. Anyway, we're going to just break this into 3 parts, it looks like, because we're already hitting 10 minutes. Just one other quick note is this is all off the top of my head, and I'm trying to speak to you and keep it entertaining, which I realize I'm about as boring as shit. Anyway, I got tired of sitting there on the farm by myself, and I had a little bit of pot already up into my truck, maybe, I don't know, about a half a pound, and it wasn't looking like things were going to happen, and then, so I bailed. Not knowing anything. And now let me tell you, we'll kick off part 3, but we'll just set up the story. It had not rained in Mexico in like 5 years, and this is around Christmas time, and it is doing nothing but raining. So all of these little creeks that have been dry, we came into the branch over a creek, it was just barely running, but all this shit's flooding everywhere. And I've decided I'm leaving. It's the middle of the night. I woke up, freaked out, jumped in my truck, and took off. And I had no idea where I'm going. I just used my best instinct. And this is where the tale really gets scary. And if it wasn't for the good Lord above, I wouldn't be here. And they said, to just leave you with this part of it. They went looking for me, and they couldn't figure out where I went, and they ended up on the mountain where I had ended up, and they're like, the gringo was up here in his truck. And they're like, oh, God, they thought I went off a ravine. And I'll tell you all about that. That's the very exciting part of the story. And going back across the border, getting searched. And, yeah, lots of fun. But here I am. And I guess I survived. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. And hopefully I'm not boring you too much. It gets a lot better the last part of this story. And then we'll move on from there. I got more stories. I got stories coming out my backside. So I want to thank everybody that subscribed, and, let's keep it going. I notice I'm getting a lot of love over on Facebook, and, well, it's not really love. I've been talking about liberals, and they don't like it, and it's been causing me to really take off there. I've got hundreds of people watching my videos there. You can tune in over there. I guess it's no secret who I am. My name is Aaron, Aaron. My last name is Slutzky, Slutzky on Facebook. People just call me Slut. I'm all right with that. They've been doing it since the 4th grade. You'll know you're in the right place because my logo thing is a Los Lobos patch. So, like me over there, friend me, tell me I'm an asshole. Plenty of people are lately. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, catch me over on Facebook. Let's make this thing take off, man. I got stories that you won't believe. Some of them I can't even tell on a medium that's going to get censored in some way. And some of them I can't tell because I've been sworn into secrecy. Others I can't tell because, the Pope is still in the Vatican. It's just a lot. Anyway, shout out to my brothers, my brother X. Hope things are well for you, brother. And if I missed anybody, well, shout out to you too. So, like, subscribe, share, call me a bastard, tell me I talk too much. I don't really care. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you with part 3 in a couple of days. Peace.